Thank you all for coming to the right place to learn about AI as well as Redzone. It looks like there are several people who are really excited to hear, but I don't think you're going to be able to hear the videos in the back. We have some more space. We have sitting room, standing room if you want to come up and join us to hear about AI and a little bit about Redzone. So we want to start by grounding you and sharing a little bit about what we do at Redzone before diving in to say how we're leveraging AI and our perspective of AI in the future. Our mission at Redzone is to transform manufacturing by empowering the front line. I know, my background's in manufacturing. In manufacturing, we have tons of different systems that folks use. Often, we have tons that are systems of record to plan work, like an ERP. On the other end of the spectrum, we have systems of execution, like an MES, to capture data. Our founders at Redzone, with that mission to transform manufacturing by empowering the front line, felt we have a critical piece that was missing, and that's a system of action specifically dedicated to the people who do the work, the folks on the front line. So without having a category of software that existed, we said, we're going to create our own. Now, from 2013 to now, we have a new space that's called the Connected Worker space. If you think about how vital your smartphone is, how it's that one device that has, I mean, you guys are using it now, to text, to listen to music, to have maps. Redzone strives to be that application that is that one-stop shop for all of the work that the frontline worker does in a factory, getting the work done so that they can deliver results. And after deploying in over 1,500 factories across the globe, we've done that, delivered tremendous results for organizations. This is not anecdotal. These are the average results of 1,500 factories, seeing an average 29% productivity uplift, almost 75% increase in engagement. Turns out, if people are engaged at their job, they are less likely to leave. So we've also seen a reduction in turnover. These are the macro results that our factories are seeing. We see these results in part due to our tool, our software, but also because we support our software implementation with a 90-day coaching and deployment, where our coach with manufacturing experience and background spends time with the leadership team and also tons of time on the floor to empower the frontline, help giving them a voice to use Redzone to make a difference. And what we've seen is in the 500,000 frontline workers that are using Redzone day in and day out to win the shift, win the day, that is making a huge impact for the organization because of all of these micro impacts every single day moving the dial forward. And each of those 500,000 frontline employees has a story. I want to share with you one that's near and dear to my heart, the story of Rufino.
He estado trabajando en Capstone por 27 años. Tenía planes de retirarme pronto, pero pensándolo bien con esto del Redzone que apareció y tengo la oportunidad de poder dejar algo como mi intelecto no está muy bien adecuado, ¿verdad? Pero para una especie de recordatorio, de algo de enseñanza para los demás, a los que se queden atrás de mí, puedan tener la oportunidad también ellos de aprender de lo que yo sé. Yo me siento muy bien, alegre, contento y agradecido porque sé que hay alguien que está viendo y valorando mi trabajo, lo que yo hago, lo que yo sé y le dan valor. Y pues vamos a tener Rufino por un rato todavía.
Rufino's story is a powerful story about how you can take technology, put it in the hands of your frontline workers, and not only change your entire plant, but actually change the lives of real people. This story of people is what has defined our approach to how we do AI and how we do technology. Rufino's story is not unique. It's actually over 500,000 operations and manufacturing plant workers are in Redzone every day, 1,500 plants, and this is how we've informed our overall strategy. But for manufacturers like yourselves, we are at a generational tipping point. And I think everyone here, if you haven't watched all of the YouTube blogs and whatnot, you should really be paying close attention to this. There's a few key important things going on. You have the geoclimate situation where government is sponsoring people coming back to the United States, workers, right? So tariffs, chips, things like that, where they're bringing work back. But at the same time, labor headwinds are still persisting, right? It's still hard to find and engage workers, something Redzone spends a lot of time thinking about, even in our AI, and you're going to see a little bit more about this. And then finally, you have technology advances with AI, and the world is moving at a pace I think that folks haven't really understand yet. As we get closer to AGI, you're going to see the difference between technology is going to become less and less a differentiator in your manufacturing process. Think about it. If we all have artificial intelligence, the same LLM, the same people, the same traditional processes, what makes you different? Think about that. What makes you different? Well, it's your people, right? It's your people and how you leverage those people and processes to drive better outcomes than your competitors. So when we started ChampionAI, what were we trying to do? We were really focused on creating a system of action. And we wanted to start with people, not technology. This is, yes, there's AI is displacing jobs. It's changing the face of, workers today. And I'm sure that's there. But what we wanted to do was not usher in our AI overlords for human beings. What we wanted to do was take AI and put it directly in the hands of your factory workers on the factory floor. That's what we wanted to do. We imagined a future where AI is not just automating your processes away, but really it is multiplying, a force multiplier for the productivity of your frontline workers. If I put AI at the top floor, there's an improvement. But if I put it on the shop floor and I put it in the hands of thousands and thousands and thousands of human beings, what this creates is a situation where your business can react in a way that it never could before. Because I'm telling you what, humans see things on the factory floor that automation doesn't. It's not in the data. And trust me, I run data science teams, right? I'll tell you, there's a lot of what happens on the factory floor isn't in the data. Who knows more about that machine on the manufacturing line than the operator who's been standing in front of that machine for 30 years? You think AI is going to know it better than that person? No. But if I put AI in that person's hand and I bring all that data, knowledge, experience, Rafino, bring all that down to their hands and allow them to act in the moment, let them take the decision, we believe that this creates a future where of both what I like to call velocity and fidelity. Velocity is a function of speed and direction. How fast can your plant run? But also, how fast can it change and pivot? A lot of folks like to say that running a line of water bottles is a fixed process, but we at Redzone know it isn't, right? Because we know things happen, like materials don't show up, the labeler is jammed, right? These are the things that happen in a normal day. And if you have humans engaged in that moment, you can address those and you can fix those. And that's in part why we get these enormous results in 90 days, right? So, and then finally, fidelity, and this is an important thing. If all of your competitors have the same technologies you do, they're all going to follow the same practices and processes. The other thing you need outside of velocity is what I call fidelity. It's your ability to align yourself to your customer compliance and regulatory needs. Like, you have to be super localized, right? Like, to what you're doing. Every one of you are in a business that has uniqueness, right? Lean into that uniqueness, right? About what's you, because the rest of it will become commoditized, right? You'll be able to go buy it from Gemini or whatever, right? So what is ChampionAI at a high level? This is for the just straight up folks. Like, ChampionAI is QAD Redzone's agentic AI platform. It is designed specifically for manufacturers. We have 1,700 employees in manufacturing. We have all of our coaching that Blake talked about. They are in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of plants working with tons of teams. That knowledge is built into our AI. It's specific for manufacturers, right? So you're not Anyone who thinks that a generic AI solution understands the nuance of a manufacturing floor is crazy, right? Just crazy. Gemini does not know what happens on the factory floor, but we do because we have all the data, right? We know what the operators are talking about. We know that their work instructions, we know the compliance checks, we know their learning, we know all of that sort of stuff. So we can bring all that together in a moment. And what this allows you to do is effectively unlock greater value out of your existing resources, allowing you to create leverage, right? To create more with what you have. Do you think your competitors are gonna do less or do the same thing with less resources? Or do you think that they're gonna invest the same amount of resources they do today, but then outcompete you? Think about that, right? Everybody talks about doing what we do today with less, but I think that's a, zero-sum game. The pie is not getting bigger. The pie is getting bigger, folks. So finally, like ChampionAI, at a high level is a role-level workflow orchestration system, our agentic AI platform. So inside of the ChampionAI platform, we have what we call champions. Each of these champions match a manufacturing persona that you have in your plant. One we're going to talk today about with Redzone is a line lead, but it actually expands your entire manufacturing process from supply chain, things like demand planning, demand forecasting, into production execution like Redzone, and then finally in your logistics and distribution, right? Allowing you to create agents and agentic behavior that automate away the mundane tasks that you do on a daily basis. I like to say, if you're not filling out that expense report, how might else you spend your day? Working on more interesting problems. So we're role-based, very action-oriented, obviously autonomous agents working in the background to detect problems, to keep people up on the up and up. We also made for manufacturing, like I was saying before, very tuned into who manufacturers are. And with our 90-day program, we deliver results fast. So I'm going to turn it back to Blake, and she's going to talk about how we're using AI specifically in Redzone.
Yep, thank you, Ron. I want to pull on something that Ron shared. He said that Gemini or ChatGPT, those general processing systems, they don't know manufacturing like we know manufacturing, which is true, but also they for sure don't know manufacturing for your specific facility. Redzone is powered by, ChampionAI is powered by Redzone, which has tons of data and context. So the folks like Rafino who have created great work instructions, the history of what actions have been completed to address specific top losses, the data sheets, the PMs, the work orders that have all been completed to cover everything that your frontline worker is doing at your plant. Redzone has all of that data. And let's be honest, we love Rafino. We love that he's still there 4 years later because he's super engaged and excited about what he does. But one day, Rafino will retire. And he's not alone. Other people are going to retire. Actually, 100,000 baby boomers are retiring every single day. And usually what happens is all of their experience and knowledge, the 27 years, the 30 years, leaves when they leave. But that's not what has to happen. Because we have ChampionAI, we are taking our mission of empowering the front line to another level. Now, new hires have the benefit of the knowledge from Rafino. We have the benefit of all of the years of actions that have been created, of work orders that have been completed, all of that context specific to your site to help deliver even more incredible, tremendous results. So what does that look like for us in Redzone? Well, I'm sure that you don't have any new hires in your factories. Everyone's tenured. They're all like Rafino, and they're staying there forever. You don't have new people. But if you did have someone new to come, it's usually a cold start. There's so much information running the line. There's hundreds of issues that they can encounter. Well, here we have Alvin. He's a new hire. And he can't have Rafino there looking over his shoulder, helping him every step of the way. We want to empower Alvin with Rafino and everyone else on the shop floor's factory's knowledge. So you can, come on. There we go. So you can, just like typing into ChatGPT, we have the ability for Alvin to talk to Champion and say, hey, my top loss is skipping labels. What should I do? So it can bring up tons of potential options, and let's pull on that. Let's look at previous work orders. And as I look through that list, I see I actually went over to my applicator pads, and they do look worn. Let's replace them. Let's get it scheduled. And instead of me having to, as Alvin, create that work order, Champion's going to do that for me. And we can actually resolve that before my day is done. We can get the line back up and running. Skipping labels are no longer a problem. I have the knowledge from history to say, here's what action I need to take to improve performance on my line. And Alvin's feeling good. It's 2 o'clock. Shift change happens. He's ready to leave. He's actually ready to leave at 1 o'clock, but 2 o'clock is when shift change happens. And what's critical is that handoff, because Alvin's just had 8 hours on the shop floor dealing with skipping labels, dealing with other things, safety issues, quality issues. But then what typically happens is, just like ships passing in the night, the next person comes, it's, hey, keep it running, and we're off to the break room to change before we clock out. Now, we know what the best line leads do. I used to be a team leader. I would pull data to see how the line was running. I'd go walk the floor to see what's the pulse of the line. Well, let's just emulate that with a champion, the line lead champion. Oh gosh. This clicker is very good. Okay, with the line lead champion. So here we can start the shift, pulling data before I even talk to Alvin. Calvin can pull all of the context to see what happened on the previous shift from a safety, quality, and operational perspective. What were those anomalies that stood out so I can best prepare how to have the conversation and the 1 minute or 30-second handoff with Alvin. And then we can predict what issues are you going to see today based on what's coming, because we have all of that history. So here it looks like weak seals are going to be a top issue. Well, what can we proactively do to address weak seals? We can clean those bagger jaws. Let's make sure that we have a plan for that today. So before I've even walked onto the floor, I have a plan to address my losses to ensure that we're set up for success. And of course, the day goes on. Calvin's online, feels good, but somewhere else in the plant, we have changeovers. Do you guys have changeovers in your plant?
Yeah.
We all love them, right? No, we wish we could run the same product, the same size, 24/7. I don't know why people like variety in their life, but such is life. And in my experience, changeover from product A to product B feels different than product A to product C, right? It really depends on allergen, non-allergen, if this is a size change or not. We have that history. We have all of that context. We know what Ruffino, what other folks have done to ensure that we can start up successfully. We have all of that machine learning information to best set up for success for the changeover. So here, the run's about to start. We're changing over to Coconut Dreams, and it's those weak seals. Well, what action can we take? What training do we have to review?
If you're having issues with film seals, with the vacuums turned off, gently pull the film downward and continue to adjust the belt position on the HMI until the film starts to pull back. Save the final position of the belt.
All right, so I know that I need to change my belt position. All of these use cases are just the tip of the iceberg. We see tremendous power in really going all in with ChampionAI. And think about having all of the key leaders and resources for folks on the shop floor that you have today that are current roles, like a continuous improvement lead, a training lead, but having them as agents doing work on behalf of your frontline employees, empowering them to take action and make improvements themselves to see results at their line, which then, of course, bubbles up to tremendous results for the factory. These are the future champions that we are going to have for Redzone, and the list will go on and on, as Ron mentioned, to ensure that we're supporting the front line.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining. If you want to learn more about ChampionAI, obviously Blake and I will be hanging around for just a bit, but I do encourage you to check out our booth, and there'll be a few others out. We can talk more about how we're moving your front line from just the frontline shop floor all the way to the top floor, and we are eager to talk about more about that. If you're also in the Brussels or Dallas, which I don't know that you all are, but maybe you are. But if you are, we have our annual Champions of Manufacturing event. We're going to have Troy Aikman there. I don't know if anyone's a Dallas fan. Go Birds. Go Birds. I'm just saying it. I have to tote the line. Anyway, but Shruvis would love to see you there. And thanks, everybody, for joining. We appreciate you.